Do you get paid from TLC for things like filming your births? I would hope so. Technically, Jenny, no.
Yeah. But Marie, how do the parents feel about kids being more active and spoken out recently? They don't like it.
They don't like it.
They don't like it because it's a risk.
It is a risk.
Hey friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Wednesday. I wish it was Friday. Wednesday, October 4th, 2023, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. We're going to collide into two different topics. Actually, it's one topic, but it's about children being paid on reality television. And recently a book was written by Jill Duggar, and she revealed in her book pretty telling details about her parents and the contracts they had with TLC, and the fact that she was never paid for the birth special, her wedding special, or really anything that she did for the show until she got an attorney involved with her father. And we learned through Jill's book that the contract that TLC had with the family was one person. So TLC signed a contract with Jim Bob and his production company, Mad Family Productions. And Jim Bob was supposed to pay the rest of the kids through that production company. Jim Bob was not paying the kids through that production company. TLC was paying like a lump sum to the production company and didn't have contracts with the kids, right? And then we also learned in Jill's book that Jim Bob would make extra money on specials. And it was a tiered system where they started out at like a smaller dollar amount per episode for the half an hour episodes. And then for an hour long episode, there was a point where the Duggars could have made up to $75,000 for a 1 hour episode. And then specials paid even more than that. And Jill revealed that her wedding actually netted her father over $100,000. And the birth special that she filmed that included the birth of Israel also netted her father over $100,000. Jill received $0 for that special and for her wedding. So Jill's entire day was filmed and she made no money. So that's the backdrop that I'm giving you for this video, because a lot of people like to think that somehow the Brown family will go unscathed in this situation and that they will be different than the rest of the families that have fared on TLC. And for the longest time, I have told you on this channel that Sister Wives is Kody's show, and that Kody is the one that takes the money from the show and decides what they're going to do with the money. And that the rest of the people are working for Kody and they're not making a dime off of the show. So Mykelti just did a Patreon last night, and there's been a lot of discussion on her Patreon because Jill's book, right? So people naturally have questions. You know, last week she did discuss maybe wanting to write a book once Sister Wives is over. She doesn't know if she will. Obviously, Jill's book has opened up a can of worms. Like, what is TLC doing that children of a patriarch, young adults, are having babies on television, having their intimate areas exposed to cameras? Even though that doesn't make it on television, camera crews are in the room and the camera is at the area where the baby's coming out, and they're not making a dime. And that, if you've never gone through childbirth, I have. It is the most intimate thing you will ever do in your life. And it is not somewhere I would want cameras. And then the thought of doing that in front of a national audience, I would think you would want payment for that. Nope, not if you're Kody Brown's daughters, because he's not paying them. So Mykelti was asked on her Patreon yesterday if she received payment for the birth of her baby from TLC. And she said, well, technically, no.
Okay. Do you get paid from TLC for things like filming your births? I would hope so. Technically, Jenny, no.
Yeah. But
You could tell by her response that she realized what she said and maybe didn't want to say it, or maybe regretted saying it. And the look on Tony's face also seemed to show that he was a little bit regretful about what McKelty said. Later, in the same Patreon, someone else asked the person what the family thought about the kids speaking out about the show and about their family. And they said they don't like it. The parents don't like it. There's been multiple times during the season that McKelty has said that she had just recently gotten a phone call from Janelle, and Janelle's asking her not to comment on a situation. Janelle didn't want McKelty to comment about the fight that she and Kody had. Isn't that weird? She wanted her daughter, her bonus daughter, to not make a comment at all about what she witnessed and watched on television in that fight. So a couple months after last season, Peyton and Gwendolyn had commented that their father was trying to get TLC involved to stop the kids from speaking out, because the kids speaking out was ruining the narrative of the show, ruining the facade of the family, exposing things about the family that they didn't want the people to know. On top of that, you learn in Jill's book that TLC is tied to People magazine, and everything that they do goes through People for an exclusive. Everything that happens in their lives, they don't get to decide if they're going to announce it themselves. It's all designed through the marketing team of TLC and People. And then People is the one that gets to make the announcement with your story. And then Derek and Jill, McKelty, they get to share the People story and then tell people to go read People magazine. Derek and Jill discussed how having People magazine basically dictate their lives on when they can tell things, and a network dictate their lives on a network, was stunning to them. But on top of that, it was that they weren't even getting paid. Now, McKelty is going to have another birth filmed on this series. She said that she had the birth of the twins filmed for the show. So she's going to go through 2 labors, much like Maddie went through 2 labors. And there was no payment here. And if you've noticed with McKelty, every time she's pregnant or anything like that, all the announcement goes through People magazine. When Christine announced that she was engaged, goes through People magazine. When the splits happened, goes through People magazine. Ahead of the season, everything about this family went through People magazine. So People, and it's not People's fault. The network is the one that's arranging all of this, and it's for publicity. So really, I'm looking at People magazine as kind of the propaganda machine for TLC. They have a relationship with the network, and they have this exclusive right to the stories that the network gives them, and there's probably some compensation paid for these. Even though People says they don't pay for exclusives, I cannot believe there wouldn't be some sort of financial arrangement here between the two of them. It's just a lot of work for that. No payment. So People's doing basically PR for TLC to push their shows out, but the families in the middle of this are stuck because they don't get to decide when things are actually stated about their lives. So McKelty doesn't have a contract with TLC. Gwendolyn doesn't have a contract with TLC. Peyton doesn't have a contract with TLC. None of the kids have a contract with TLC. That's why they can all speak. Parents all have a contract with TLC, and they've all signed with TLC, and that's why they can't speak freely. And they have to go through the network to make sure that they decide what they want to say. The kids can go rogue and say anything they want at any time. But the network is still dictating their lives, and they're not paying them. So McKelty is a prop for her father, in that when McKelty gets pregnant, she doesn't get to decide when she announces her pregnancy. The network does. When McKelty gets pregnant and has a birth, Kody's got her on the show. Why? Because Kody will make probably 6 figures, $100,000 or more, because everyone will tune in to see the baby being born. Same thing for weddings. Why do you think he was so interested in planning a wedding for all of his kids? He wanted to get Leon and Audrey married for how long, and it never happened. Gwendolyn refused to have the show film her wedding. Logan refused to have the show film his wedding. Christine is going to have the show film her wedding, which is actually coming up this weekend. So here's the thing. When we're all enjoying this content and we're talking about what this family is doing, the one thing we're not talking about is Kody's continued exploitation and abuse of his children and his family for profit. Kody Brown, and this is why I have been saying and advocating for Christine to get off the show. Because what she's doing is she's helping Kody make money. She is helping she's making Kody wealthy. She might be making a small fee herself, but I'm assuming the bulk of the fees and the money goes to Kody. And she has her own company now, she's now paid through, but I doubt it's what Kody's getting paid, because at the end of the day, it's Kody's show. This is why I've been advocating for Christine and Janelle and the rest of the ladies to get off the show. Because truthfully, this show doesn't help them, it helps Kody. And the show is literally exploiting the children for profit, and they're not getting paid. Peyton didn't seem bothered by the fact that he didn't get paid. He just thought it was great that they weren't poor anymore and they could go do things. And it sounds like Kody has told his children much of the same things that Jim Bob told his kids. Well, with the show, you get to go traveling. With the show, you get perks. And with the show, all of you guys got cars. And with the show, some of you got to go to college. And with the show. But yet none of the kids were actually paid. Wouldn't it have been nicer if the kids would have just received income on their own and made the decision on how they wanted to spend the time, the money that they made working a job? Imagine you've been on a television show for 13 years and you have nothing to show for it but a social media following, a small Patreon, and your entire lady bits out on the internet and on TV forever, but your dad's the one that made money off of that. Your dad's the one that made money off of your labor. You did all of the work. Your dad made the money. Everything that the kids are doing is work that Kody doesn't have to do. All of Robyn's kids now are being on the show more. Why? Well, because the rest of the family's gone. So now Robyn doesn't want to have to work, so the kids are now working, and they're obviously not getting paid. A lot of the kids want nothing to do with the show because they don't get paid, because they want to be private, because they don't want a network dictating their lives and telling them what they can and cannot say, because they don't want to be part of their dad's exploitation machine. Mykelti and Tony seem fine to be a part of this, which is very strange to me. She mentioned that once that her mom sometimes will pay her a little bit of money to be on the show, but not always. So it's coming out of her mom's pot, apparently, not Kody's pot, which again, Kody's pot's going to be the bigger pot because this is his show. The show is about Kody and his 4 wives, not the 4 wives and Kody. The other wives left and Kody took on new wives, then the show would be about Kody and the new wives, not Kody, Christine, and Janelle. So it's really disturbing that this kind of exploitation is happening on television and that these kids are so conditioned that they should just be happy with the opportunities that the networks are giving them and the free trips and the bigger houses that they got as a result. Like, that should be payment enough. But at the end of the day, they're working and exploiting their lives so that their dad can profit off of it, so that their dad can buy things for his favorite wife, Robyn. And that's why I think fans get so frustrated with Mykelti, because at the end of the day, she doesn't recognize that she's been victimized by her dad and by Robyn and still being used by her dad and by Robyn. I hope someday Mykelti wakes up. But you could tell she was kind of shocked that she made this statement, and I'm not shocked that this is the reality. I'm actually disgusted. And again, at what point are we going to have lawmakers step in and do something for children of reality television to actually protect them, ensure they are getting fair wages, ensure their lives and their privacy is being protected, and to ensure that they are not being exploited by their narcissistic parents for content? Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.